Hello, friends. Welcome. In this session, I am going to discuss about an actual case study using Krishnamurti Padhdhati related to business and finance. This is, uh, an example horoscope, and we are going to discuss this. And in terms of business and finance, I know this person, for many years, and he has been my friend, and I would like to discuss about a particular period that he went through from the business and finance point of view. But before getting into that, I thought that I'll share with you that how the significators are populated in Krishnamurti Padhdhati. uh, because in Krishnamurti Padhdhati it's all about the interlinking of houses, good or bad houses, and so you have to understand that how the significators work in Krishnamurti Padhdhati. So some of the values I have already populated in this table just to save time, but I'll show you the other examples so that it's very easy and you'll have a very methodical idea about how to populate. So let's get started. I leave out Ketu and Rahu for the time being because Krishnamurti has special rule for with Rahu and Ketu. So let's start with Venus. So first is that we have to look at the placement and ownership of Venus. So Venus in this chart occupies, the Venus occupies 10th, and it is the Lord of Ascendant. It's a Libra, Ascendant, and it's also the Lord of 8th. So by virtue of placement and ownership, Venus indicates 10, 1, and 8. Sun would indicate uh, 10 and 11. Moon 9 and 10. So this is how by placement and ownership you populate the values. And now let's come to the Rahu and Ketu. And Krishnamurti has special rules. So, because Rahu and Ketu are not planets, they are, shadowy planets and they absorb the results of other planets. And when we say that they absorb the result of the other planets, this could mean, so many things. So, in KP, if Rahu and Ketu is conjoined with any planet, they absorb the result of that planet. If they are not conjoined, then the planet they are being aspected by, they absorb the result of that planet. And if A and B rule is not applicable, then they give the result of the Lord of the constellation. And then is Lord of the sign, they occupy, and finally, where they are placed. Now, when we say about Lord of the sign, Rahu and Ketu occupied, then we have to look at, the actual sign Rahu and Ketu are occupying. If you look at this, the cusp chart, Rahu is seems to be in Scorpio and Ketu seems to be in Taurus, but that's not true. And Rahu is actually in Sagittarius and Ketu is in Gemini. So when we talk about Lord of the sign occupied, then we have to look at the actual sign that they are occupying. So in terms of Ketu, uh, let's look at the first condition. Are they conjoined with any planet? So Ketu is not conjoined and Rahu is also not conjoined. And then is any planet aspecting them? Then we find that none of the planets are aspecting them. Jupiter is not aspecting, and Mars or Saturn, they have special aspect, but we don't find them aspecting Rahu or Ketu. So we'll come to this condition C, and then we say the Lord of the sign occupied. So Ketu is in Gemini. So Ketu is going to represent Mercury. So what we are going to do is that we are going to say that Ketu is giving the result of Mercury by being in Gemini, and Rahu is giving the result of Sagittarius, that means Jupiter. So Jupiter indicates, these houses. So Rahu is going to give the result of these houses. And then we come to the where they are placed. So Ketu is in 8th and Rahu is in 2, second house. So Ketu is in 8th and Rahu is in the second. So all these things I have seen, from the cusp chart, because uh, the whole, concept of Rahu and Ketu's signification is full with confusion in Krishnamurti Padhdhati. If you go through Krishnamurti's books, you are not sure what Krishnamurti is actually trying to say. He has laid down these results, but when you look at the examples, sometimes these are followed, sometimes these are not followed. It's not about only the KP books, but even the latest books, that has been published by his son. All kind of examples are there. So the issue is that Krishnamurti, says about if and or, you know, if Rahu and Ketu is conjoined, then this will happen. If they are not, then this will happen, or this will happen. But all these, if and or, there's all, kind of examples you find, and there's all kind of, confusion that what actually, Krishnamurti wanted to say. And so, but we'll stick with is, what is mentioned as a part of rule for Rahu and Ketu in Krishnamurti, Padhdhati. So these are the, the rules. And then we come to the star lord. So Ketu, the star lord is Ketu's. These are the, the star lords. Let's look at this. Ketu's star lord is Mars. So all we do is that we take this and we put it here. And Venus star lord is Mercury. And then we have Sun. Sun is again Mercury. And then we have Moon. Moon star lord is Saturn. So and then Mars. Mars we have Mercury. And then we have Rahu. Rahu is in Ketu star. So what we are going to do is that and then we have Jupiter. Jupiter is in Mercury's Jupiter is in Mercury's star. Saturn is in Jupiter's star. Jupiter is in Mercury's star. So sorry. We already populated this. Saturn is in Jupiter star. So and then we have Mercury. Mercury is in Ketu star. So let's take Ketu. So this is how you populate the star lord significance of a planet. I hope this is all clear to you. And it's actually very simple. And then you come to this sublord, and Ketu sublord if is Mercury. So what you do is that you take Mercury and you put it here, and then Sun. Sun is Saturn. So and then let's take Rahu. Rahu sublord is Ketu. And then let's take Jupiter. Jupiter's sublord is Venus. So I hope that gives you some idea. I've left out a few others, and you can make it out that how one has to populate these tables. So this is how you have Ketu signifying these houses by placement or ownership, and then these houses by the star lord, and these houses by the sublord, and so with the other planet. So now let's look at the what actually happened in his life. And in 2002 or something, he was undergoing the dasha of Sun. Sun was the Mahadasha, and the Antardasha was that of Rahu. And before that, when the Dasha almost started, before that he was in a service for a multinational company, and then he decided to resign and start, his own business. So that is what happened in Sandasha and Rahu Antardasha. Now, if you look from the business and the finance, point of view, then the good houses are, from Krishnamurti's point of view, are 2, 6, 10, 11, and the bad houses are 5, 6, 8, and 12. Okay, so these are the good houses, and these are the bad houses. You see that the sixth house has a double role. When it joins hand with 10 and 11, then it gives good result. But when it joins hand with 8 and 12, then it starts giving bad result. So in Sandasha and Rahu Bhukti, now if you look at the what kind of houses, Sun indicates 10 11, which is good. Then Sun is in the star of Mercury, and which is indicating 10 9 and 12. So it is okay. I would not say it's very good, because 10 is not supported by any other good planets. The 10 has to be supported by some other good planets, either over here or either over here. So 10 is not supported. You don't see any 6 11 over here. Okay, so it was kind of okay for him, but it's not very, positive. Sun is not very positive. And in Rahu Dasha, when he decided to leave his job and start the business, at that time, if you see, then what you notice is that uh, you see this combination, and then you see this combination. So in Rahu Dasha, he said, okay, no, I don't want to, be in service, and I want to be in business. And he collaborated, with a few of his friends and started, his own company. And at that time, the Rahu, the bhukti was he was undergoing through the Rahu bhukti. Like I said, the sun is not very conductive. I would not say sun is outrightly, negative, but it's not very positive. And Rahu, if you look at Rahu, it's very, negative. And 8 and 12, these are the very, bad houses. And the 10th house doesn't get any support, from other good houses in the star lord, position, or yeah, from the sublord. The sublord has to decide whether this is going to be ultimately good or bad. So you see this position. So the 12 and 8 position here and here. So this was a very negative uh, period for him, and he started a business, and then he ran into all kind of issues. And I mean, it's not better to describe what happened to him. And he has all kind of debts, and the partnership was broken, the company got dissolved, and from many angles, he just got screwed up. And from after Rahu, then he has to go through the Jupiter Dasha. If you look at Jupiter, you don't find Jupiter even uh, helping him in any ways. These are kind of neutral, they don't tend to help, the damage that has been done by Rahu. And then similarly, in Saturn period, if you look at the Saturn sublot, that's Saturn again. So you see this. So there is no, what I would say, the light, at the end of the tunnel. So he ran into all kind of issues, all kind of debts, and all these periods, from Saturn Rahu onwards, was extremely, bad for him. Again, you see here that he had this Mercury with, 812. So, so he got into really, hot waters. So that is what, how the significators in Krishnamurti, they work in terms of indicating about the business and finance of a person. If you look at the KP Kaspa chart, or even the Lagna chart, he has all these planets, including the moon in the 10th house. So prima facie, you might say that this person is going to rise, spectacularly in his life in terms of career and all that. But that's not true. Like I said, I know this person, from close quarters, and I know, the kind of period, he has gone through. So this is how, you have to look into how, these significators according to KP work in a person's life in terms of business and finance. Now, one more thing, I want to point out is that sometimes, see, this is an example where things are kind of very predominant. You can see that the planets are bad, but you're going to end up in situations where things are going to be on the borderline, and then you will have some confusion whether this is going to be a negative, very negative, or positive, that kind of a result. So one of the things that I do, and that is very helpful to me, is that since he was going through the Sun Dasha. So what I do is that I put, Sun here in the ascendant. I'm sorry, I hope that this is clear to you with this kind of orientation. But why I have put Sun over here? Because we were discussing about the Sun Dasha. So Sun kind of becomes, the ascendant or the Mahadasha, kind of becomes the ascendant lord, and then you analyze, rest of the planets. Obviously, all these significators will change because these significators have been worked out according to this chart. But when you look at this chart, the significators will change. If you go through Krishnamurti's, third reader, and especially the Mahadasha section, Krishnamurti has mentioned that the the Bhuktinath or the sub-period planets, how they what kind of relationship they make with the Mahadasha is very important. So this is also going to help. I'm going to have another video with some examples on showing how this can help you. So that is all for this session. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.